Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode of Days of Our Lives is not just another midweek filler. Wednesday, December 3rd is the day where fractures become cracks, and cracks become full-blown breaks. Secrets collide, emotions spill. A father makes the promise of his life, and a young girl at Bayview reveals a side of herself that no one, not even the audience, truly expected. This is an episode built on tension, on confession, on the slow unraveling of every carefully protected layer. And I promise you, by the time we reach the end, you'll be asking the same terrifying question the characters are. Who's really in control, and who's about to lose everything? Let's break down every twist, every emotional blow, and every ripple this episode sends through Salem. The episode begins in one of the quietest places in Salem, yet emotionally, it's the loudest we've seen Marlena Evans in months. Marlena sits alone, shoulders slightly hunched, her hands clasped tightly together, a posture we rarely see on her. This is the woman who has counseled generations, the steady voice of logic, the rock people cling to during their darkest hours. But today, the rock is cracking. Kayla's voice repeats in her mind like a haunting echo, the confirmation of her medical diagnosis still ringing with clinical clarity. And beneath that, layered like a bruise pressed over and over, is Brady's rage. The way he looked at her. The disappointment in his voice. The sense that he believes she betrayed him by withholding the truth about Rachel. Marlena isn't just upset, she's ashamed. And shame is something she almost never allows herself to feel. Instead of turning to her family, the people who love her, the people she has always leaned on, she does something shocking. She seeks out Leo Stark. Leo, the man who throws glitter at problems instead of solving them. The man who masks discomfort with jokes, sarcasm, and deflection. The man no one would ever choose for emotional support, except today. Marlena sits across from him, and her defenses fall like dominoes. Her voice trembles, not dramatically, but in a way that reveals the depth of her strain. She admits the truth piece by piece, as if pulling thorns from her own heart. She made decisions in fear. She believed silence would protect her family. But her silence created a deeper wound, one she may not know how to heal. And in a rare twist, Leo transforms in front of her and the audience. No eye-rolling, no jokes, no flamboyant commentary. He is quiet, intensely quiet, absorbing every word. His face softens, his eyebrows draw in with concern, and his tone lowers to something rarely heard from him, sincere empathy. This scene becomes symbolic for two reasons. It marks the beginning of Marlena's emotional descent, a journey she can't simply therapize her way out of. And it elevates Leo, showing viewers he is capable of grounding, comfort, and genuine human connection. The moment ends with a chilling realization. If Marlena is finally admitting she crossed a dangerous line, then the damage may already be spreading, far faster than she realizes. Across town, the atmosphere shifts from emotional tension to corporate tension. Titan's conference room feels cold, not from temperature, but from the weight of the conversation about to unfold. Maggie sits at the head of the table, her expression tight, her posture firm. Across from her, Kate crosses her legs slowly, giving the impression of a woman ready for battle even though no one has declared war yet. This isn't just a meeting. It's two titans of Titan sizing up a storm before it hits. They begin with numbers, trends, reports, the usual corporate language, but every word feels coated in something more ominous. Because both women sense it, Titan is shifting beneath their feet. Maybe it's internal sabotage, someone inside the company pulling strings in the shadows. Maybe a rival is preparing to strike at Titan's weakest point. Or maybe, it's connected to E.J. Demera's resurfacing memory, the Italy clinic, the mysterious reading, the fragments of truth poking through his fractured mind. Whatever the cause, the tone is unmistakable. Kate looks up from a report with one of her signature icy glares, the kind she only uses when she sees danger long before anyone else does. Maggie responds with a controlled calm, but her breathing tightens, her jaw clenches. Each comment feels like two grandmasters trading moves on a chessboard. What if the numbers were manipulated? Or what if someone wants us to believe they were? We may be under attack. No, the attack may already be underway. It's subtle, calculated, quietly explosive. This scene isn't about loud drama, it's about the dread that comes before disaster. Fans watching will recognize the setup immediately. Titan is heading toward another corporate earthquake, and today is when the first tremor hits. Then, we return to Bayview, and everything slows down. Brady walks through the hallway alone, the sterile white walls closing in around him. His eyes are red, his breathing uneven, and his hands shake slightly with the weight of what he just did. He left Rachel behind, not in anger, not in punishment, but for her safety. Yet the deeper truth gnaws at him like a raw wound. He feels like he abandoned his daughter. Her screams as he walked away echo like ghosts in his mind. He hears her footsteps running after him. He feels her fingers slipping away from his hand. And he questions, with every step, did I do the right thing? Or did I just lose her forever? Brady stops outside the building, leaning against the wall, his chest rising and falling in sharp breaths. He's breaking, not dramatically, but quietly, painfully, internally. And then Tate appears. Tate approaches slowly, studying his father with concern far beyond his age. He doesn't rush in, doesn't panic, he just steps into Brady's space with quiet strength. This is not the same Tate who spiraled months earlier. This is a young man who has been forged by crisis. Tate places a steady hand on Brady's shoulder and speaks with a confidence that surprises even him. Dad, listen to me. You didn't leave her. You're helping her. And I'm here. We're going to get through this. Those words become a lifeline. Brady's breath hitches. He looks at Tate, really looks, and for the first time today, he sees hope. He sees support. He sees a son stepping forward, not out of obligation, but out of genuine love. This moment redefines Tate. He becomes the anchor Brady desperately needs. He becomes the emotional protector of the family. And he becomes, unexpectedly, the hero of the scene. Because for the first time, the father isn't holding the son together. The son is holding the father together. This is one of the most mature, emotionally resonant moments in Tate's storyline, and it signals that his role in the Rachel arc is only beginning. Across Salem, the tone softens, but the tension sharpens. Holly sits down with Ari in a quiet corner of the Horton Town Square, but today she isn't the slightly rebellious, slightly dramatic teen we're used to seeing. Today, Holly looks scared. She keeps fidgeting with the sleeves of her jacket. Her eyes flicker nervously from Ari's face to the ground and back again. This isn't theatrical anxiety, this is real, unfiltered dread. Holly tries to speak, but her voice catches in her throat before the words even form. Ari leans in gently, recognizing the signs of someone carrying a burden much too heavy for her age. Holly finally begins to talk, and everything she's been suppressing spills out at once. She's been watching Tate, how he barely sleeps, how he jumps every time his phone buzzes, how the smile he forces on everyone else disappears the moment he thinks no one's watching. She's been watching Brady, how he walks around with shoulders hunched, how guilt presses down on him like a physical weight, how he pretends to be strong but looks more shattered every time Rachel's name is mentioned. And she's been watching Rachel, not the girl she used to know, but a frightened, unstable version of her spiraling into a world Holly can't understand. Holly's voice cracks as she admits the truth. I don't know how to help any of them, and I'm scared that Rachel's disappearing into something none of us can pull her out of. Ari reaches for Holly's hand, offering reassurance, but Holly pulls back, overwhelmed, breath trembling as a terrifying thought rises to the surface. Then she whispers the question that hangs in the air like a cold wind. What if she doesn't come back from this? That single sentence changes the emotional tone of the entire storyline. Because Holly isn't exaggerating, she isn't being dramatic. She's saying what the audience, deep down, has started to fear. Rachel is not just struggling. She's falling, fast, into a darkness that no one knows how to navigate. And Holly, watching it all unfold from the outside, becomes the emotional translator for the viewers. Her fear is the audience's fear. Her doubt becomes the unsettling pulse of the Rachel storyline. This moment, quiet, vulnerable, human, is what gives the upcoming twist its devastating power. The scene shifts back to Bayview, and the atmosphere instantly changes. Rachel sits in her room, knees drawn to her chest, trying to make sense of everything. The faint sound of muffled voices drifts from the hallway, but inside this room, it's silent, too silent. She isn't dangerous. She isn't violent. She's simply broken, frightened, and exhausted. But she's not alone. Sophia sits across from her, head low, hair hanging over her face, body slack as if her spirit has left her. The staff believes Sophia is unreachable, locked inside her own fractured mind. But today, that illusion shatters. Rachel looks up, sensing something, a twitch, a shift, a change in the air. Sophia's fingers start tapping lightly against her knee. Then she lifts her head, slowly, deliberately. Her eyes no longer look empty. They look focused, calculated, dangerously aware. Without warning, Sophia straightens her posture completely, sitting with the controlled precision of someone who has been waiting for the right moment to reveal herself. Rachel freezes. Sophia speaks, clearly, steadily, and with a chilling calmness. "Don't tell anyone." Not yet. Those 4 words detonate like a bomb in the room. Because up until now, everyone believed Sophia was trapped in her trauma. But the truth becomes unmistakable in her tone. Sophia hasn't been catatonic. She hasn't been disconnected from reality. She hasn't been lost. She has been pretending, watching, studying, gathering information while everyone underestimated her. Rachel stammers in confusion, but Sophia leans in, her gaze cutting through the room like a razor. "You know what they think of us. They think we're broken, weak, disposable. But we're not. We can make them listen." The words are soft, but electric. This is not the voice of a victim. This is the voice of someone who has a plan. And it becomes painfully clear what Sophia is really doing. She's recruiting Rachel, not to comfort her, not to support her, but to use her. Rachel, emotional, unstable, desperate for understanding, becomes the perfect target for Sophia's manipulation. Sophia doesn't want a friend. She wants an ally, a partner, someone she can mold, control, and weaponize. In a single moment, the Bayview storyline transforms. What looked like a descent into tragedy is actually the rise of something far more dangerous, a psychological game with Sophia holding the reins. And the scariest part? Rachel doesn't realize she's stepping into a trap. Because Sophia makes the trap look like salvation. By the time this shocking episode ends, Salem is no longer standing on shaky ground, it's standing on the edge of a cliff. Marlena's guilt is out in the open, yet her medical diagnosis continues to shadow her every move. One misstep could fracture her family in ways she can't repair. Titan Industries is bracing for a storm no one sees clearly yet, but both Kate and Maggie know the threat is real, and closer than anyone expects. Tate, once lost in his own battles, now becomes the emotional anchor of his fractured family, but the responsibility he's taking on is far heavier than any young man should carry. Holly becomes the voice of fear, the emotional indicator that the Rachel storyline has crossed into unforeseeable territory. And Sophia Choi. Sophia emerges from this episode not as a victim, not as a patient, but as a strategist, a girl with intent, intelligence, and unsettling precision. She isn't spiraling. She's planning. And now, she has Rachel, vulnerable, frightened Rachel, standing unknowingly at her side. So Salem is now left with one urgent, terrifying question: if Sophia and Rachel are forming an alliance, who is going to stop what comes next? Because one thing is absolutely certain, this is not the end of the story. This is only the beginning. Wednesday, December 3rd isn't just an episode. It's the spark, the ignition point, the moment that ensures the next chapter of Salem will be darker, sharper, and far more dangerous than anyone imagined.